Good day. I am Ongama Mtimka and I am a business consultant and a lecturer. Today I'm going to be taking you through the process of writing a business plan. I hope that you're going to take these lessons and write your own business plan that is sharp, that can attract money, and make sure that your business grows. One of the most important things before you write your business plan is to make sure that you are confident about your idea and you've tested it and it is great to implement. So, to encourage that, I always say have a proof of concept phase where you implement your idea on a small scale and find customers and invoice them so that you can test that your idea works. Now, when it comes to the business plan, we in South Africa are blessed to live in a country where various development finance agencies have attempted to help entrepreneurs to do their business plans. In fact, not only will they help you to do your own, but can pay for professional services should you need your business plan to be professionally done. Now, these different development finance agencies have got different templates which they have offered to the market in order to help entrepreneurs to do their business plans. There's the IDC template, there's the Small Enterprise Finance Agency template, and also SMME Toolkit, which is aligned to business partners, have got their own business plan template. For many years, I've used the SMME Toolkit template because I find it is quite useful because under each segment, you get asked leading questions which you then use to respond to so that you can write your business plan. So the template that I use is the SMME Toolkit template. I really found it to be a great and useful template that can help entrepreneurs. So the template, as with any other one, has got the executive summary, following the cover page, obviously, the business overview, management, the market, sales and marketing strategy, financial statements and projections, legal and regulatory environment, SWOT analysis, risk and reward assessment, as well as the appendices and supporting documents. Now I'm going to spend the next few minutes taking you through writing your business plan in line with this template so that you can, by the end of this session, be able to at least write your own business plan. First, the cover page. This page doesn't need anything fancy. All it needs is a good title, the contact details of the business, and sometimes you may be able to put in the registration details as well as whatever is necessary to kind of summarize what this business plan is about. In the executive summary, one of the things that are important is the principle of the inverted pyramid, which I talk about, and it's a principle which I incorporated into business plans from my background as a journalist. If you look at this sign here from gas, the pyramid is facing downwards. It's pointed down. That's what we call an inverted pyramid. The idea behind it is that your most crucial information must be in the first 2-3 sentences of your executive summary, so that if a financier doesn't read any further, they have got the gist of what your business plan is about. So for example, when I'm writing about a business plan in the transport and logistics sector, I may write the following. This document presents a business plan for a transport and logistics business that is in the trucking space. The entrepreneurs are looking to secure money so they can buy more trucks to respond to customer demand. They have been in business for the past 6 months and have secured more work from the same customer. The customer has given the business an offtake agreement confirming their willingness to buy to make use of the services of the entity should it secure funding. Okay, so there I've already communicated crucial information such that if the person didn't read any further, they would understand exactly what the business is about, and in fact could even make a judgment call right from the beginning as to whether they are interested or not to invest in that business. What is also crucial when it comes to executive summaries is to summarize information about the background of the entrepreneur, the background of the idea. Once you've done that, you also summarize what the situation will look like post-investment. What is the current status of the entity? And post-investment, what will the picture look like? So for example, you may say, currently the business generates a revenue of 100,000 per month. Post-investment, its revenue will grow to 1 million a month. You also want to show what will be the impact on jobs. Most of the funders in South Africa are development finance organizations, and among the indicators that they use to determine investment decisions are what they call jobs per million. How many jobs does each million invested create, directly in the company and indirectly down the value chain? You also want to summarize in the executive summary what is the nature of the industry that this company is venturing into. Is it a twilight industry? Is it a growing industry? If it's a twilight industry, you may want to specify how many years will it take before no one in that industry can generate income at all. So for example, coal in South Africa is a twilight industry because it is facing a lot of pressure from environmentalists to move more towards renewable energy. In fact, some of the financiers have already made decisions not to finance any coal-based investments. So it is approaching its twilight years as a sector. But the length of that twilight may be anything from 25 to 30 years. As such, a business that enters the market with an intention to make a strategic exit by year 25 may well be okay, but you want to show to financiers that you are mindful of the fact that this is a twilight industry, but you are also bearing in mind that the entrepreneur, if it's not yourself, is going to be profitable until that time when businesses can no longer succeed in the industry. You also want to include a lot of financial information in the executive summary, stating things like what will be the profitability, what's the gross profit percentage in terms of the financial projections that have been made, when will the company likely break even, and also, you know, what its sales look like. It's important to state all of these things in the executive summary because the assumption that you are making is that your reader, who is a prospective financier, doesn't have all the time to read lengthy documents. You want to facilitate a decision to be made by the financier who reads your business plan right at the level of the executive summary. When it comes to the business overview, you want to give the profile of the entity, and when you write this section, don't be minimalist. Look at the experience that you have gained as an entrepreneur. If you provided a similar service, for example, in a company you were employed in, I would make sure that I make a reference to that experience gained, even if it was in a different company, as part of the profile of the business. Many people start side hustles long before they formally register and start their businesses. What I usually do is that I would look at all of those side hustles and make sure that I derive crucial information there which conveys information about the competence of the entrepreneur, as well as the ability to manage things, so that I use that which was gained in a side hustle as part of the profile of the business. Obviously, you also want to include the proper history of this specific entity that you're applying for by stating things like when it got to be registered, among other things. Also, under the business overview section, you want to talk about the product range. So what I do when I write this section, I create a table with product width and then product depth. Product width refers to the number of lines or number of different products that are being sold by a company. And then product depth is the variations per product that is being sold. So for example, in the width for VW, it is the Polo, it is the Touareg, it is the Golf, the Jetta, the Tiguan, as well as the Beetle, among other things. So that's the product width. But product depth would be, what is it that are the different categories within each product line? So for example, the Touareg comes in different sizes, in different engine capacities, same as the Golf. There would be probably a 1.4, a 1.6, 1.9 TDI, 2-liter TDI, and the works, and the GTI. So product range, you want to express it in terms of what are the different product lines or service lines, and then under each of those lines, what are the levels of depth that the company goes in order to provide services to the market. It's important also to comment about it underneath that table. So you may be saying, for example, the range of products and services that are provided by the company is synergistic enough such that its production operations will remain largely constant despite the different products that it is selling. But if VW was in the baking business while also producing cars, then the synergy level of that product range would not necessarily be, there wouldn't be similarities, because you need different production processes to process flour and baking products compared to what you need for vehicles. Still underneath the business overview, you want to have a section where you describe the location, the premises, and where applicable, the production facilities of the company. This will give a sense of obviously locality, but also ensure that people understand the dynamics in terms of how your facilities are going to influence your levels of productivity and how close you are to markets. Under production and technology, still within the business overview section, you may want to write and describe the production process. Okay, what is the production process? What is the plant level value chain? Okay, and what are the different steps? Sometimes you may want to also put a graphic here that shows the floor plan of your business. Where do things start, where do they go, and what's next? So in some cases here, I would actually map a process and express it graphically, where I show what are the different stages of production and how what happens under each of those stages. And then it also says technology. So you may want to list here all software, all hardware that gets used in your business in order to create and deliver value to customers. Past achievements are important too, and milestones. So you write these down under the business overview section. So, for example, what you may have is a headline that says achievements and milestones, and you list your achievements and the milestones. The milestones are important because they tell the financiers what from this business plan has already been achieved. In the SMME toolkit, SWOT analysis is put elsewhere, not under this section of the business overview. I have tended to put it under business overview because I feel that it is part of assessing the internal situation of the firm mainly. So the two questions on strengths and weaknesses are precisely about what the firm has or what is it is lacking in, and then the rest are about external environment. But I put the entire SWOT analysis under business review because I feel that that helps me to complete the picture for the reader. And I have done many of these business plans before, and I've never had any development finance organization complain that I've misplaced or I've dislocated it from where it should be. So the next major section then becomes company management after business overview. Company management has got a number of sections. The first one being the entrepreneurs or the entrepreneur. Here I write about what is it that the entrepreneurs are bringing to the table. What investments are they making personally? What are their personal balance sheets? And also what experience do they bring to the table that will help them run the business successfully? So you need to have as much information as possible there. And then what follows the entrepreneurs is management structure of the business. Under management structure, I would start that section with perhaps just an opening sentence and then paste a organogram. The organogram is dictated to by the product range or service range of the business. And I read the organogram, I read the service range and then determine for the entrepreneurs when I write on their behalf what ought to be the different line functions. And obviously, more often than not, the entrepreneurs that we've worked with are not people who can do that. And when they actually see a proposal from a business plan consultant, they accept it because it makes sense to them, because it's built logically from the business idea. Once we go past the executive summary, the business overview, as well as the management, the company management sections of the business plan, we move to the market. Under the market, we have two major headings: industry analysis and market analysis. And then what I usually do is I would put in competitor analysis here too. So industry analysis is a broad overview of the industry. And this, I believe, should strongly be done from meso to macro and micro level. So for example, you talk about what is the state of the industry globally. What is its share of global output? Has it been growing? Has it been declining? What's actually happening? And then at a national level, you also look at the role the industry plays in national wealth, okay, on GDP. And look at what have been the recent trends in terms of the contribution of the industry to job creation and also to revenue, among other things. What you should then do after describing the industry in broad terms is to do a market analysis. Market analysis looks at Porter's 5 forces. Is there a threat of new entrants? What is the lobbying power of suppliers? what is the role of competitors, and what is the role of customers in influencing the dynamics of the market. And also, it's important to specifically name the companies that are playing a huge role here. What is the situation like in terms of market share in the sector, and what is being done to change that situation? Those are crucial questions that one gets to answer under market analysis. So once I've determined who the major players are in a particular market, what I would do is I come up with a list of what I regard to be key success factors. And I did say that these key success factors are determined generally by me using a judgmental approach. And sometimes there may be research that backs it up, but generally I would ask myself a question. If it's a business in the transport sector, I would then say, okay, what would make a business succeed here? One, it could be the size of the fleet, because the more trucks they may have, the more capacity they have to reach a number of different customers. The second thing may be existing contracts. So if a company has got a lot of existing contracts compared to a company that does not, then that would be a key success factor. It may also be that the ability to sell and secure work becomes one of the key success factors. Another thing may be software and management systems, because a company that is not able to manage things like, for example, fuel maintenance, among other things, will be outsmarted by a company that has been able to learn the art of doing those things. So I then design this and create a mechanism to rank them. So for example, what I would do is I would say, if I've come up with 5 key success factors, what I then do is I determine which one is the biggest and which one is the smallest. So for example, I may determine that owning huge fleet comes before management systems, and also that management systems comes ahead of, say, for example, customer service, whatever the case may be. I'm just making an example. Then I allocate a total score for each of these. What I would then have is all the companies ranked and scored on the basis of how they fare with industry key success factors. So that's how I do my market analysis and competitor analysis specifically. The sales and marketing strategy section is one of the most important in a business plan, because it shows to the financier how you plan to make sure that your business and its products and services is known, and it is reaching the right people who will buy your services. What you want to bear in mind here is the 4 P's of product, price, place, and promotion. Around product, it's important for you to express each of the line items in line with what is the targeted market for that product and service, and what the benefits are to that market. That's the only section where I differentiate this level of detail about the service range compared to the initial stage, where I just describe it in the business overview section. When it comes to pricing, it's important to express what your pricing philosophy is, what is your approach to pricing is, what is your cost structure, and are you using a market approach in terms of pricing? Do you use a cost plus approach, or any of the different approaches that have been used in the theory? When it comes to place, it's important to state whether the proximity, or whether where your business is in close proximity to any of your targeted markets. It's important to talk about ease of access to your place. If it's a walk-in business or it's a business where people must order online, whatever the case may be, place refers not just to where your business is, but its distribution strategy too. And then promotion is important, and I think here one of the things that are underemphasized is the use of social media. Social media is replacing traditional media budgets in a number of companies. Companies are investing a lot on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp so that they can be a lot more accessible. These platforms have allowed for more direct customer communication compared to the previous above-the-line methods where you advertise on the mass media platforms and you can't really be sure who you are reaching. There's huge targeting mechanisms that are built into the social media platforms where, for example, you can do effective geographic targeting. Indeed, even radio does this, but I think in social media for low budgets you can be able to run advertising, create Facebook pages, create Twitter pages, create WhatsApp business profiles so that you can communicate with your enterprises. One of the things that I've realized is that even at a proof of concept stage, if you want to succeed, what you can do is create Facebook posts where you are posting consistently around what you do in your business. And believe it or not, people will believe you. In all my years that I've written business plans, people have never stopped to ask, what are your qualifications, by the way? I'm trained as a journalist and a journalist and a politics graduate, and then did my master's in South African politics and political economy. It has been my work experience that has positioned me well to use my writing experience in journalism to communicate business concepts and ideas eloquently so that one can synthesize things. Point I'm making is that the business world is not like the job market world where people are wanting to know your qualifications up front before they can do business with you. For things like accounting and legal services, maybe yes, but other services, people believe what you say, they believe your profile and everything else that you have. So it's important for you to use social media not just as a way to respond to the question around promotion in your business plan, but to actually use it to start growing your business. Things that are important under the sales and marketing section is to then explain your philosophy that you have used to create financial projections for your company, especially the top line, that is revenue. What is it that you believe about your sales strategy, and what is that going to translate into when it comes to real numbers? Now, there are different debates here. Some people would say we are targeting a particular percentage share of the market. Financiers are not really keen on this one, but I still use it anyway because sometimes it's the only mechanism that you can use. Financiers do prefer sales projections that are backed up by contracts, letters of intent, or off-take agreements. They prefer that. But sometimes it's just impossible to do. So a target-based pricing philosophy or projections philosophy gets used. Now, when it comes to financial projections, Mr. Gumbi, I believe, is going to do that. And so my input there is that you make sure that your sales section covers the basis in terms of what are your likely sales that you are going to generate per month, per year, and how will they be growing, because it is a function of your strategy. The legal and regulatory framework is important too in the business plan. You want to respond to, first of all, you want to show that you are aware what are the legal implications of running a business in your industry. What is the regulatory environment? Are there industry bodies that regulate your market? that regulate your industry? What is your approach to general legislative issues such as, for example, the Labor Relations Act, the Compensation for Occupational Injuries Act, So all of those things are important for you to apply yourself to and how you are going to respond to them. Other sections which I add to a business plan are risk and quality control. In there, I use a very simple thing that says, what are all the things that can go wrong? What would be their impact if they happened? And what is the mitigating measure that I'm going to put in for my business? If you can show financiers that you are mindful of all the risks, then and you've planned for them, it's different, and you are in good stead compared to somebody who may not even show any awareness of the risks. Around quality assurance, you want to document in the same way that you did with risks. In your production process, what are all those things that can go wrong? And then what measures will be put in place to ensure that quality is guaranteed for your customers? And then it's the conclusion. Whether you call it a conclusion, recommendation, whatever the case may be, is neither here nor there. That's where your big ask gets to be. I hope you've enjoyed this section, and let's meet again next time.